Everybody, welcome back to the Spinner Rack. I'm here with my boys, P and Cal. Say what's up, gentlemen.
Hey, we're ready to rock.
Hey,
What up?
We're talking about episode 5 of Ahsoka. Oh my God, it dropped. I'm here with the boys. We're going to discuss and see what we think about this particular episode. This is the episode where they had Christian, whatever the hell his guy's name.
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden, well,
Yeah,
Anakin
that
Skywalker.
was
trying to
really bad.
Yo, dude, he's not my favorite character.
No,
What
you
can I
gotta
say?
stop that bias,
You
man.
know what I'm trying to say?
You love him on Clone Wars.
I
Thank
like him,
you.
and
You
but
don't like
it-
the stuff here.
Thank
It's the
you.
same
He sucked
character.
in the movie, bro. But
No,
listen,
he did not.
Yes,
He was-
Badly
Look,
written.
we're not gonna argue
Poorly
about that.
written.
The hell, we're not going to argue about it. You
Yes,
keep doing the
yes.
same thing.
I can't
the
do it,
Clone
bro.
Wars was a fully developed Anakin Skywalker who would have never been seduced by the dark side. It would have never happened. The movies
then-
is the guy who could be seduced. He was young. He was impressionable. He was afraid. He was whiny. He was everything that we didn't like. That's the guy who becomes
Powerful.
Darth Vader.
Powerful, a leader of men.
He was already
And
close to a villain in the Clone
So wait a
Wars.
second, but you saying did you dislike him or not?
I just
If he
like
was-
him in the.
But you
The
said he was
movies.
powerful.
No, in the movies
like-
he doesn't like him because he's too whiny and he's not Darth Vader in the movies. That's what it is.
And he's
He
not
wants
a
him to be
leader
Darth
of men.
Vader.
But when he's in.
Okay,
the Clone Wars,
but
he's
they
like,
had
look,
his
we
voice.
digress. We're
They
talking
had
about
his
Ahsoka.
voice. So they're
Yeah.
using his voice for the animation, not his actual voice, but how he sounded,
Okay.
his tone.
All right, look.
So right, but in a better way, and so,
So,
get
I
that.
thought, so the episode was great because it did give us flashbacks of the development of Ahsoka. You know,
Oh,
we
yeah.
have the plane. What is the name of that plane? Where it's like
Now,
like a limbo type of
but
plane.
where is that? Where did
Jedi's
that
in.
come from? Where did that plane
And
come from?
Well, we started looking at it in Rebels. We saw that plane appear in Rebels.
Okay.
The animated show. So I'm telling you, Rebels informs so much in this particular show. If you want to understand a lot of the aspects of what's going on, this is, and people said it, this is Rebels season 5, but live action. I mean, they've done a great job. Sabine Wren. Every time I look at her, I'm like, wow. At first, I didn't think she was going to really rock, but she's really starting.
She wasn't. Then they finally cut that excess hair off, and now we got the character.
And she's looking at it, and even the attitude is starting. So I definitely say that's it. But this hits on so many notes. We have Ahsoka killing it as usual. You know, we have Hayden Christensen coming back, and you know, while
And
I
doing
didn't
a
have,
decent
I
job,
mean,
right?
I wanna hear what you gotta say. Go
While
ahead,
I
say what
have
you have to
many
say.
of my faults, they did basically say this is an episode of the Clone War, and he was able to capture the kind of the feeling, even though we keep looking at this guy like
He was
damn
able to act like himself? Is that what you're saying?
We're saying in the Clone Wars, if we pretend he's not a live action guy, we got him. And so those of you who really like
Okay,
Hayden
all right.
Christensen, you can do that.
Cut. Okay. What you need to understand is that the Clone Wars is actually a retcon because those cartoons came out after. Okay, the movies were done.
Thank goodness.
And then what did they do? They were like, all the stuff we don't like with Anakin in the movie, we're gonna fix that for the Clone Wars. No, okay, they just did that because all these guys were like, that's not Darth Vader. Darth Vader wouldn't act like that. Darth Vader, no, Darth Vader was exactly like that because the films are it. The animation, that doesn't inform the films. And the reason why this worked so well on Ahsoka was because what? We got to actually see the two of them together for the first damn time in live action. Everything else was in the Clone Wars. So we don't know how they would have acted before, but there we got to see her young. We got to see her a little bit older. Remember, canonically, the Clone Wars are 3 years. It's a 3-year period. That's all that was. So the whole thing, even with her being his Padawan, is more like a 7-year period when you look at the Clone Wars. Well, if I go by the seasons,
Right, by the seasons, but not by the actual.
it seems like it's a much longer period of time at the end of the day. But put that to the side. We got to see them interact. It was really cool. The same people who give Hayden Christensen so much grief for his portrayal of Anakin Skywalker are the same people who watch Episode 5 and they're like, great, oh so good, Rebels 5. Why couldn't we want more of this? We want more. We need a Hayden Christensen series. Hayden Christensen do Anakin Skywalker,
no.
please.
We don't need a Hayden Christensen series at all. But Ahsoka, I love the development. You know, this is Dave Filoni's baby, right? Ahsoka, and he takes the time to really go into how she developed and who she became, and the importance of your boy Anakin Skywalker, and how he informed her of what he had to do. Basically, she had to fight for her life because she was basically dying. And he basically said in the episode, you know, you have to fight me, and basically you have to fight for your life. You have to have a reason to live and what you have to do.
Yeah, that dumb Jedi training that never really makes a lot of sense at the end of the day.
You know, and of course they're running away from the Jedi. Everybody wants to be something other than Jedi. But you're right. It's a fantastic episode.
Has the training ever made any sense? Can you think of one Jedi? All the Jedis that we know of are people who never really completed their training. Okay, never really completed the training. Ahsoka Tano never really completed the training.
Obi-Wan.
Luke Skywalker never really completed the training. Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Yoda.
Qui-Gon dies before, never completes the training. Okay, so all the guys that we have for examples are people who never really
But
completed their
which
training.
Are those the
Thousands and
ones that they
thousands
think
of them from
interesting
different
though? Or those are the ones they feel that are interesting more than the Mace One
You
dude
would
or
have to
something like that?
We've never really gotten a character who was as popular or is pushed as much as the ones who never completed their training.
Well, I mean, look, it's different because you got to say Luke and
Anakin
Kanan
completed his training.
That is wrong.
That's true.
That is wrong. That is
He becomes
wrong.
the worst
But he
Jedi of all
Yeah,
time.
that
He
is
completes
wrong.
his training.
But he didn't really do. They had their doubts about him if it wasn't for the Emperor pushing. But look, we digress. So in terms of the episode, the very fact that they bring the Purgles and also the space whales, you see these guys actually. I didn't know how they would pull that off from the Rebel show. These are the whales that
You know how
can
they
fly.
pulled it off? They
CGI.
they gave him a budget. That's
Now,
how they pulled that off.
Were they in the
budget, yeah.
books though? Did they have the space whales in the books, or is that
No,
the
it
creature?
wasn't Rebels.
No, that was in Rebels the
Wow,
cartoon.
'cause
But
I-
if they didn't have the
Animated.
budget, you know what we would have gotten? We would have gotten some shadows in the clouds and a whole bunch of noise. It'd be like,
Okay.
ooh, ooh, ooh. Are those the whales? Ooh, ooh, ooh.
People would say that. Oh no, Easter egg!
But
You heard the
it-
whales, right? Those are the whales.
But
from-
you told me that actually episode 5 was actually was viewable actually in IMAX
Yes.
theaters, right?
Yes.
Which is just one episode.
Just that episode, because obviously you had Hayden Christensen in it. It was going back to Rebels, the whole deal. It was all on once for the
Hey,
fans.
Even you got to admit, he looked good. He looked good. Come on, he looked good.
Well, I just want to say that the space, I had only seen something like that in the X-Men, where the X-Men was trying to be like Star Wars in the Brood saga, and they had these whales that the Brood were kind of
Right, I remember
latching
those,
themselves
yeah,
on, and it was just like,
Interesting.
it's
I
so
always thought
hokey, and I said, wow, they made it work.
They stole the whales.
Wow, and the Broods came out in what? In the 1990s, right?
82?
No, 80s, 80s.
Wow.
81, 82?
That's wild, right?
That was like, yeah, what is it? That was like a rip-off Star Wars,
Yeah,
Alien.
yeah. Like, it was
did
in
probably some
Conti. It
more
was
stuff
in
too there.
Conti.
I think
Yeah.
they did everything except Planet of the Apes and then that little bit of time.
Well, if Claremont had saw it, he might have put that into the X-Men.
Yeah,
But
I can see him right now. Hey, John Romita Jr., have I got a story for you?
yeah, there you go.
You know,
But so overall, since you guys are big, how did you feel about the episode? 'Cause
Great.
I come in, I just enjoyed it.
Great episode, very entertaining. The only issues that I have with it story wise, and this is pretty much the only thing, is that like I don't understand Jedi training. It's like, okay, what do you got to do? You got to fight me. Okay, you're gonna have to kill me. All right, obviously not. Obviously not. The dude's already dead, so
Yeah.
obviously not. And then it's never really centered like, what is the problem that she has? Oh, okay, the problem that she has. I had to have somebody tell me this after the show. Oh, this is what the problem that she has. I was like, that's great that you were able to infer all of that. Shouldn't I be able to get that by watching the show? So, what's her problem? That she is part of Anakin Skywalker's legacy. But Anakin Skywalker's major legacy is what? A lot of death and destruction at the end of the day. Even though she's ignoring Luke Skywalker, okay? She's ignoring all of the, I mean, these guys are all connected from, Qui-Gon to Obi-Wan to, everything at the end of the day.
their lineage.
Yeah, and the whole prophecy about bringing balance to the Force and to everything, and that was worked through Anakin Skywalker. Even if it's one of these, the Force is going to use evil and make it for good type things. So that was the only problem that I had, because it never seemed that she ever come to terms with the fact that yes, your master, Anakin Skywalker, who you obviously were deeply connected to, okay, loved very dearly, and then found out overnight that this guy pretty much destroyed, everything that you cared about and were a part of, but she's still connected to him. And what does that make her? If everything that this guy produced for the most part was a legacy of death and destruction and evil, well, what does that make her as his only Padawan? And did she ever come to some reconciliation or at least an understanding with it? I never got that really from the show. I had to literally, guy told me like, really? And then I wanted to disagree with him, but then I was like, what can I disagree with? I didn't understand that by watching it myself. So I would have liked if they had been a little bit more deliberate in establishing that, if that's even what it is, was the consensus that she comes to after her interaction with Anakin Skywalker.
Well,
Two, I wish it was longer. I wish they had spent more time together. It was over so quickly. He was like, I guess there's some hope for you. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's done?
But
It's already?
I thought, to me, so what a difference. I understood exactly what it was doing. she had to fight for life, and that's why she had to fight over all the things that she saw him do and who he was. She had to grapple with the fact that this guy, Anakin, like you said before, the light in her star. You know what I'm trying to say? That this is the guy who would do such evil stuff, at the very end. And I think that's something that's been holding her down, the legacy, like you've pointed out. But, the thing is that I think that may also be what harms her relationship with
Ren?
With Ren, because she's like, this is what I've done. Can I really trust her? Look at where I've come from, Do I really know what they can do? I don't know. We're still also up in the air about, does she even have the ability to as a Jedi or not, But she's training her, so she must have some
I don't know about that. We got a lot of people who haven't completed training, training other people.
We're not saying training. We're saying just have the ability to do stuff.
That's called training.
Yeah.
Well, no, you're supposed to have an innate ability to have.
No, once you start talking all the Jedi mumbo jumbo, you're training this person at the end of the day. Once it's like, close your eyes here, put this mask on. Okay, feel the Force. That's training.
Yeah.
Okay, that's training. I'm still trying to understand how Obi-Wan Kenobi trained Luke Skywalker, and the most training I ever saw was on the Millennium Falcon. I never saw anything else.
Because he was treating him as his little brother. That's why.
Obi-Wan Kenobi with Luke Skywalker?
Yeah. No, not Luke Skywalker. Sorry, you're right. Not Luke Skywalker.
No, Anakin Skywalker had full training. He's the only fully trained Jedi I can think of off the top of my head from this circle and everything. But Darth Vader, on more than one in both films, credits Luke Skywalker's training to Obi-Wan Kenobi, not Yoda. Mind you, Yoda was like a default. Everybody got to train with Yoda as a Padawan. So when they fight, and he says, "Look, Obi-Wan has trained you well." As a kid, I was like, "Oh, so Obi-Wan trained him well." And I was like, "Wait a minute, they only had that. There was that scene they had on the Millennium Falcon. How did he train him?" And then again in Return of the Jedi, he's like, "Okay, everything of that nature. You reconstructed your lightsaber. You did all this stuff. You have controlled your anger and fear." Obi-Wan has trained you well. I'm like, oh, what did he do it? And then for years, I thought he came back as like a Force ghost. Like, okay, right, okay, we got it.
I guess the basic tenets of what he needed to teach. That was enough.
How long did they spend?
Somebody
I always had a theory that they were on the Millennium Falcon for like 3 months or something because of the time dilation, and they didn't actually feel it. So he gave him a whole bunch of good training at the end of the day. But then if you read the books, they're like, what, on the ship for maybe like a day, maybe?
Well, not too long.
They weren't there. They weren't there that long for the amount of time that passed. So Obi-Wan Obi-Wan is greatest of all time. Trained Luke Skywalker to Darth Vader's kudos in half an hour.
Or it could be that he is making up from the fact that he was such a failure with Anakin that's why he had to be sure that.
Actually, he was a success with Anakin. Look, Anakin,
look at what happened to Anakin.
Took his powers and decimated the whole galaxy.
Yeah.
Anakin went bad. So
his abilities.
His abilities are great.
Yeah, his abilities.
The thing with Jedi is you're supposed to train to reduce don't have any attachments.
Well, the Emperor was in
How many
there.
Jedi's got to train while being seduced by Emperor Palpatine?
Emperor was in his ear.
Who is probably one of the greatest Force practitioners of all time. Tell me, how many of them had that going for them as well?
Well, he was available to all those people in the school, in the Jedi Academy, and yet he was the only person.
Yeah, but he was only focused on one of them.
So he was only able to get him to do it. So, I mean, you keep being an apologist for bad guys.
No, because you refuse to, look,
Wow,
what's got to happen?
this is,
the past is immutable. We can't change the past, right? And then the whole prophecy was that who was going to bring balance to the Force? Anakin Skywalker. So that means all that stuff had to happen. Yeah, you keep wanting to
wait. You missed what he said. He said you're being an apologist to bad guys.
Yes.
That's a first in this show.
Now, you keep laying at Obi-Wan Kenobi's feet because you refuse to acknowledge him as greatest of all time because he did everything that was supposed to happen to fulfill this thing with
and
the
he
Force.
caused the greatest enemy of the entire Jedi.
Who did what? Who brought balance to the Force? There was
the
nothing else that could have been done. It's like Doctor Strange meditating. There's 7 million different things.
Oh
There's
my
only
God.
one way. That's it.
gosh.
There's only one way.
You are in rare form, bro.
Hey, because I'm right.
Because you're wrong.
Well, it was enjoyable. No one is talking about Hera though. She has strutted her stuff throughout the show.
If you haven't seen Harrison Dula, or mind you, if you haven't seen the right pictures of Harrison Dula, I encourage you to go to the internet and do some digging.
She is the wife of Obi-Wan.
The actor.
Yes, the actor.
The actor,
She's
not
Ewan
the.
McGregor's wife?
Yes.
Oh, man.
So you who put Ewan McGregor and Obi-Wan on a pedestal, which of course is not.
Are you
necessarily-
saying now he's deserving of it even more?
He's not deserving of it. He destroyed the whole universe.
Then forget it.
Then what are you bringing up that for then?
I want to link it.
All I have to say is that Harrison Dula gained a lot of fans with this series. That's all I have to say.
Who knew?
When I get pictures in my inbox, like, hey, what's this?
He doesn't get pictures from me. That wouldn't be me.
What's this? Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh,
It would be.
somebody explain this.
It would be the plot.
You guys
I
are
would
nuts.
send
You
the
guys are
plot
nuts.
to him.
All right, listen. So overall, I mean, what do you think? In episode 4, we had that whole battle with Ahsoka and Balin what's his name?
Balin is fine.
Balin, right? I mean, what did you think about it? I thought that was one of the better lightsaber battles that we've seen in quite some time.
I'm going to go a
And we
step
see
further. I think this series is exactly what it needed to be in terms of the execution of the. I was critical of the initial lightsaber battles because they had her in these robes, and I was like, I don't see how she's going to move.
Oh,
She
yeah,
got to get out of
yeah,
that type
yeah.
of stuff. Okay, I don't know why you've got her all. Got all this extra clothing on, but even the male Jedi's, once it's time to fight, they dash that stuff off, and it's time to fight. Let her do the same thing, more fluidity in movement. But from the battles to the interaction to a nice slow build up to the bigger moments, they did what they were supposed to do. I'm going to quote a friend of mine who said that, because I mean, with the other Star Wars stuff, guys were riffing so much about every little thing. They ruined the enjoyment overall for a lot of people, drove a lot of people away from it. Andor should have been a much bigger success. That was such a well-written storyline.
That was my favorite so far. Yes.
They had to
That's my
push.
favorite.
They had to push that on Hulu.
What?
No, Disney realized, no, we got something here with this.
That was weak,
but because
though,
they
right there.
savaged it.
Bring it in. Bring it in. I can't. We get it. We look like old men now.
Yeah. Doing some kid and play stuff.
Or at least do the shoulder.
Andor was good. Disney knew it, and Disney was like, look, they pushed it on Hulu because they were like, no.
Yeah.
We're not getting enough people coming in because they savaged everything. This one right over here was like, okay, once you have the writing, you will get the audience to submit to the quality of the show. If the writing isn't there, then they start wilding out. They don't want to follow the leadership of the show. No. In order to get these guys, okay, to submit to some good entertainment, the writing has to be there. Ahsoka Tano, once again, I think enforces that particular idea.
Rosario Dawson.
Because once you put it there, there's no more arguments. Guys can come over, I didn't like this episode. Other people tell them, look, shut up. And okay, we don't want to hear your grumpy cat nonsense or anything. This was good. This was solid. And you can go back to the stuff at the end of the day. No, you're saying this scene was bad, and this scene was bad, and this scene was bad. Well, it didn't live up to my expectations. Go jump. It was still good at the end of the day. I'm very happy that they got back. I hate to say get back to basics because it's just they know how to write a good story.
Well, I think Dave Filoni was definitely more involved in this one compared to the Obi-Wan that got
Completely involved in this one.
But you can also see this. You can tell also within the lightsaber fights, they're really making sure they know how to fight. I mean, when I see that, it reminds me of Danny Rand. And Danny Rand, how bad.
You just can't let go of it.
I cannot let go of it. Okay?
How many years ago was that? Yeah, for Iron Fist.
It was bad.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not, but
you gotta respect the
how
character.
good can the fighting be if you don't train the dude?
But that's the point I'm trying to make. You gotta take the time. If you know a character,
But you keep slamming Danny Rand, okay, and the actor. Unfortunately, his name I can't remember him right now. But you keep.
I'm not slamming the actor. I'm slamming the people who put it together.
You keep slamming Iron Fist. Okay, like Iron Fist is some sort of has-been whack job or something of that nature. And the bottom line is the production values were low for that series. That was the last series to come out. Got the lowest budget.
But you can't train the guy. Come on, that should be.
How you gonna train the guy with no money?
That should be the easiest.
How you gonna train him with no money? You're gonna come over here and do what?
Instead of one green shot.
Do you remember that ad in the comics with the guy who went like this, Count Dante? That's who you're gonna get him to train. Count Dante, the fake martial artist. Wow. That was a really cool ad though. It was all the guys loved it. The guy had like a fro. He was like in this black thing. He's like doing like this. Everybody was like, oh wow, Count Dante.
Yeah, Count Dante. Yeah. Oh my goodness. We thought it was you were saying an ad for a comic, but it was actual ad in there with a guy like this.
You're gonna learn the
like
death finger and martial arts and everything like that. Come to find out when you start really practicing, they're like Count Dante. You think that guy is real? His name is Count Dante.
He was a Miss Cleo of comic books.
Oh man. But it's a cool ad though. It's a cool
yeah.
So I mean,
cool ad.
we feel that the whole Ahsoka has really. Do you think that the shows are capturing Ahsoka as she really is?
See that right there. I don't know. I don't know if that's a question we can really ask because she's an adult.
Yes.
We never really got to see a maturation process for her because for most of us, she's a girl, maybe even a young woman at the time.
Yeah.
And then there's all these years that pass. She's now a mature woman. At the end of the day, she's more stoic Jedi.
That's
more so a Jedi.
Exactly.
But-
And then that's what people
but-
were complaining about too. The very fact that she's not the happy go.
That's what I was saying. And I didn't watch enough of those, but
Jedi.
yeah.
She says she's not a Jedi, but she's a Jedi in everything but
Yeah.
name.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm trying to say?
She just
know?
well Obi-Wan.
I think
Obi-Wan always liked that Obi-Wan had a sense of humor. Obi-Wan would crack a little something
Yeah,
here
yeah.
and there, but she's doing the classic, stoic. I don't have this. If anything happens that's funny, it's inadvertent or anything.
She'll smile.
Yeah. So you don't know if maybe by the end of the series, maybe she'll say something
Loosen
that
up.
harkens back. I mean, she might say one or two things that actually harkens back, but in the same breath, she's an adult now.
Yeah.
And a lot of adults do not act or keep the same sort of zeal or zest that they had as children. So
Well, she's gone through the Empire, right? So I mean, she's lost a lot of friends, family. She's seen death and destruction.
I mean, does she
as a
have
teenage-
but does she have any genuine connections? Because if she doesn't, then she's really a Jedi. She's
Well-
really a Jedi where she is like really separated herself from any strong connections, friends, family, associates, which is what a Jedi is supposed to do. You're not supposed to have those emotional ties.
Right. So this way it doesn't distract you and you stay focused on what you have to do. But then this is the whole basis of Bail. I believe Balin is going to come in and that he's saying, no, we need to change this. There's this whole cycle. We have to break the cycle.
Right.
Where the good, the
But
bad,
he's
the good, the bad.
evil.
I don't get that.
They say these things, but they're evil.
I don't get that. I don't
They're
get that.
evil.
I don't get that at all.
Here's
So
how you
you-
can tell he's evil. Red lightsaber.
Okay.
Evil.
Now, if is she going through the same thing some of the other Jedi's going through? Like, if she's not a Jedi, why is she so stoic like Mace Windu? Why is she like
no, because
that?
in essence she's been trained as a Jedi. And
So
all
that's
everything.
just how you just
You know
turn
what I'm
into.
saying? That's
Well,
it.
in essence, she's been trained as a Jedi.
It's just because she
She
got
just hasn't
turned.
completed. She just never completed the training.
So in Rebels, she gets turned out at the very end. Not Rebels, and in Clone Wars,
She gets turned out.
She gets turned out. in
She
Clone Wars.
leaves.
She gets turned out because she gets accused of
She
something.
gets
We need
accused
a
of
better
something.
word
She
for
gets
that.
accused of something. Anakin fights for her. She's acquitted, but she loses faith in the Jedi Order and she leaves.
Because basically
She
it was a-
returns, but when she returns, that's pretty much Order 66.
Yes.
Literally, if you've never seen that's some of the best animation.
story too.
Some of
baby.
the best animation at the
Just
end of the day.
Just the grip.
It's really good, but it really what he did, Filoni went back and said, no, I want to tell her story of what happened to her because she was a very important character, and she literally comes back, and in the space of like less than 24 hours, everything she knew is gone.
Yeah.
She's fighting for her life, and she's like, what the hell is going on? And then she finds out it's Anakin, like, what? She goes to the Jedi
Oh,
Temple,
okay.
it's
All right,
all
yeah.
gone.
And
It's
Wow.
all gone.
so Rex and them
That's-
come after her. All the squad that she was working with, they all
Yeah.
try to kill her.
So does she interact with Anakin in that series at all?
As Vader, but in Rebels.
Oh,
in
man.
Rebels.
Okay.
And then she discovers who he is at the end. So it's sad.
Wow.
It's really a hell of an arc because you're like, wow. I mean, Dave Filoni done a masterful job. That Clone War, season 6 or season 7, I think it was.
Season 7,
and then
whichever
what
one.
was happening in Rebels. I mean, you put all that together, she has a fantastic.
Yeah, she blames herself. She said that she had never walked away from him.
He never would have become Data.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but she walked away from him. She took away like connection. And, I mean, because it's a hard argument to make because I always felt that Anakin could have reached out. He could have reached out to Obi-Wan. Padme was like, look, reach out to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan will help us. And she's right. Obi-Wan would have probably said, Anakin, what have you done? You have these attachments. You have this woman who's pregnant, everything like that. And he would have been like this. How can I help you? How do I sort this out? Because he wasn't going to abandon him. But he might have felt more comfortable reaching out to Ahsoka. But in the same breath, what could she have done to help him at that point? She probably would have been like, look, why don't you talk to Obi-Wan over here? That's who we actually need on our side. But as I say again, this was the path that had to be followed in order for us to get balance to the Force.
I don't know if that was the key.
You had to have whiny, insecure Anakin Skywalker.
So generally, we like this episode. We think the show is going on the right track.
Like the episode.
I think you got to see
love the show.
episode 6. Episode 6 is going to be a banger. So watch it whenever you can.
Okay.
So spin a rack.
We're out.
Out.
Okay. If we don't got anything else. Sorry. No, it was here.